What's up everyone? Here's my basic guide on the Frost Mage class in Blue Protocol Star Resonance. So as always, we're going to start with an overview of the class, then go over both the Frostland spec and the Ray style spec. I'm going to go over the respective skills, talents, and class mechanics. Then as always, we're going to end with my personal thoughts on the class, and let's go. So Frost Mage is a ranged magic class that specializes in just DPS. The Frostland spec is extremely fun to play in my opinion, where you manage various cooldown reduction talents, insta-cast procs, and buff skills in order to unleash an ice meteor storm that makes you feel like an absolute god. The Ray style spec is a stationary class that deals high consistent damage, and it revolves around using your special attack while maximizing your ice energy regeneration to maintain upkeep on your special attack. So going over the skills for the Frost Mage, keep in mind that talents in your talent tree add effects or change how some skills function. So Range Strike is your basic attack combo. Frost Spear is your special attack. If you have a Mysterious Ice Point, it becomes an insta-cast and deals increased damage. Your ultimate skill is Extreme Cold Snow Hymn. It summons an ice field around you that knocks back enemies. It also summons a comet to hit targets and freezes them. It also regenerates ice energy for you and gives you a buff called Extreme Cold that changes how some of your skills function. Meteor Storm is a damage skill with 2 charges. Your next skill is Water Ball. Water Ball is a damage skill that summons a slow moving ball of water that deals damage over time and gives you 1 Mysterious Ice and then 1 Mysterious Ice every 3 seconds. It has 2 charges. Next skill is going to be Icy Windstorm. Icy Windstorm is a damage skill with a cast time that causes an icy storm to form on your target, dealing continuous damage. Water Vortex is a damage over time skill that places a vortex at your target, restores ice energy per hit. Freezing Cold Wind is a damage skill that affects a radius around you, with 3 charge levels to it. Each charge level increases its damage. Ice Infusion is a buff skill that grants you ice energy and haste. Converging Waves is a damage over time skill that is channeled and it roots you. And Ice Shelter is your basic ice block skill that every Ice Mage, spec, and class in every MMO has. You become immune to damage for a set period of time and deal damage to enemies around you. So starting out with the Frost Spear spec revolves around using your Frost Spear special skill as much as you can to get 20 stacks of Bitter Cold. At 20 stacks of Bitter Cold, your Meteor Storm has no cooldown, uses no ice energy, and deals 150% more damage. Outside of your Bitter Cold burst, you're managing building Mysterious Ice as much as you can, insta procs, skills receiving reduced cooldowns, and using Ice Infusion effectively. So it's a class with a higher APM, but the gameplay loop is extremely fun and satisfying. As always, when choosing your loadout for either spec, you want to pick skills that synergize with the talent tree. And as always, as a disclaimer, I won't be going over the entire talent tree because again, it just takes way too long, and second, the translation sometimes makes it difficult to understand what a talent actually does. But regardless, I'll go over some of the synergies between your loadout and the talent tree. Again, your first 3 skills in your loadout are static and they can't be changed or removed. In the Frost Spear spec, your normal attacks will summon ice cores, and these ice cores have a 10% chance to fire frost bolts, and these frost bolts will give you a Mysterious Ice proc. Your special attack stays the same, but each time you use a special attack with a Mysterious Ice, you gain a stack of Bitter Cold, and your main goal again is to get 20 stacks of Bitter Cold. Your ultimate skill with the talent also has a reduced AoE effect around you, but you gain a 25% bonus to your ice element attack while standing in its AoE. So the first skill you want in your loadout is going to be Meteor Storm. You're never ever going to remove this skill from your loadout because it's the bread and butter skill of the spec, and it's really the whole point of using the spec. Talents that affect Meteor Storm, of course, is the Bitter Cold talent, that gives you 10 seconds of free and buffed meteor storms. Other talents give you a free cast of meteor storm outside of your bitter cold buff if your frost spear crits and lucky strikes at the same time, and meteor storm procs frost arrows from your ice cores, giving you mysterious ice, so it's also a mysterious ice generator. Again, this skill will never leave your loadout in this spec. And your third skill is Icy Windstorm. Some of the talents buff Icy Windstorm so that every 15 mysterious ice that you use, your next Icy Windstorm is insta-cast and deals 30% more damage. And another talent that for 8 seconds after casting Icy Windstorm, your frost spears fire another spear at a nearby target. And your last skill is going to be Icy Infusion. Icy Infusion really picks up the further down you get into the talent tree. I never really found myself using Icy Infusion much when playing Frost Mage because I never really found myself running out of ice energy. But Icy Infusion has talents where it buffs your critical hit damage and your allies' critical hit chance, makes your Frost Spear cast 2 times continuously, and where it changes so that you only have 1 mysterious ice, but it buffs your ice attack by 100. As always, there are other talents that buff your stats, such as Lucky Hit, and buffs the damage of your skills, but the gameplay loop stays the same. So again, the main focus of Frost Spear is to gain Mysterious Ice by using auto attacks, Meteor Storm, and Water Ball, then using Mysterious Ice as soon as you get them to get 20 stacks of Bitter Cold. At 20 stacks, make sure you have buffs up such as your ultimate skill buff, and then spam Meteor Storm for ultimate Giga Big damage. Outside of Bitter Cold, you're still focused on gaining Mysterious Ice while managing free procs of Meteor Storm, Ice Windstorm Instacast, and using your Infusion buff. The race style spec is pretty easy to play, and it focuses on using your special attack, which is now Ice Ray, as much as you can, then restoring your ice energy as quick as possible. The race style spec has several skills and talents that ramp up your ice energy recovery, allowing you to use Ice Ray more efficiently and more times. The spec is pretty immobile, since Ice Ray roots you in place, so movement heavy fights may not be ideal for this spec. So as always, your first 3 skills in your loadout can't be changed and are static. Your basic attack still has a chance to gain Mysterious Ice due to your ice cores. Your special attack changes to Ice Ray, which is your main skill in this spec, and it has a talent that makes it have a 30% chance to make your ice cores cast Frostbolt. Your ultimate attack changes with the talent the same way it does in the Frost Spear spec. It reduces the AoE radius while giving you a 25% buff to your ice element attack. So, the first skill in your loadout is going to be Water Vortex. The skill recovers ice energy when it hits enemies, and there is a talent where the ice energy recovery efficiency goes up to 200%. So the next skill in your loadout is going to be Freezing Wind. Talents that affect Freezing Wind causes it to use all of your Mysterious Ice to cast icicles on enemies hit. These icicles deal damage and restore energy. There's also a talent that makes Freezing Wind restore 5% of your ice energy per second for 5 seconds when you fire 50 Frostbolts. I found this skill kind of awkward to use since this spec is mostly ranged, but Freezing Wind is an AoE that happens around you, so you have to get close to the enemy to use it. The next skill you're going to want in your loadout is going to be Ice Infusion. Ice Infusion has talents that make Ice Ray use 25% less energy and makes Ice Ray cast 2 Frostbolts during its duration. And finally, the last skill you want is going to be Converging Waves. Talents allow Converging Waves to be used while casting Ice Ray and restores ice energy according to the number of Mysterious Ice you have. Again, there are other talents that buff your stats and the damage the skills do. It's pretty similar to Frostback in that aspect, but the gameplay loop, as always, stays the same. So race style again is really easy to play in my opinion. You just use Frost Ray while utilizing all of your skills to maximize your ice energy regeneration. What I found to be efficient is to use Water Vortex, then to use Ice Infusion, then to use my ultimate for massive ice energy regeneration, then I use Ice Ray, then I use Converging Waves while I'm using Ice Ray. Then after that, I use Water Vortex again. Then I go into melee range to use Freezing Wind for more ice energy regeneration. So to wrap it all up, my overall thoughts on Frost Mage is that I found both specs to be really fun and to do really good damage. The Frost Spear spec is definitely more active and has a higher APM than the Ray spec, but the Ray spec does really high consistent damage. Again, the only real downside to the Ray spec is when you have to move around constantly, and that's when the Frost Spear spec just feels a little bit better to play. But regardless, the class as a whole feels great to play and it's really fun. As always guys, thanks for watching and take care.